And there were a lot of missed opportunities with him. We don't have to get into all that. Now he turns the page and he starts a new chapter. And he is the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Jon Moxley is the new AEW Interim World Champion. He beat Tanahashi in the main event. I don't think it's that much of a surprise because Tanahashi is going back to Japan. He's got to go get ready for the G1. Now when CM Punk is ready to come back, Jon Moxley will have a title. Ready to come back. Punk will have a title. And they've got a ready-made program. But Jon Moxley becomes the first ever two-time AEW World Champion. We're going to get into all the matches here on this card. I'm going to try not to die here. Oh my God. During the review, you guys know what I'm going through. I talked about it on the podcast earlier, but I wasn't sure if we were going to go live tonight, but I said, what the hell? I had so much fun with that show. I'm all amped up. Can't go to bed right now anyway, so... but bear with me if I don't sound like I'm at my best. They also made an announcement tonight. They did announce that Dynamite Grand Slam is coming back Wednesday, September 21st. They're coming back to Arthur Ashe Stadium right here in New York. They had 20,000 people there last year. It was their biggest show and still remains their biggest show in terms of attendance in AEW history. I don't know what the final attendance...
Sadly, I missed that pay-per-view that Solomonster is reviewing, and I'm listening to as I'm streaming and playing this game.
17 range, 17 to 18. This might be number 2. Arthur Ashe is still their biggest attended show. They're going to be coming back in September, so that was very cool to hear. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Super chats are open. All of your messages later on here in the stream. I don't want to keep you guys all night, so we're going to zip on through this as more people file on in. Was it 16? It was probably in the 16 to 17,000 range. Well, let's hope I don't lose my voice. Let's start with the buy-in. We got the buy-in pre-show. Open with Excalibur and Taz, joined by Kevin Kelly on commentary, representing New Japan. Now, I had heard Kevin Kelly flat out said on Twitter that he was going to be part of the show. So I already knew that, but there was no indication of whether or not it was going to be for a few matches, if it was going to be for the entire card. As it turned out, he was part of the announce team for the entire show. And I think Kevin Kelly is probably the at any of the major promotions. I've always enjoyed his New Japan work, and especially when he was together with Don Callis. In particular, I thought they made a great combo. But when you compare it to WWE and you compare it to even AEW, to me, Kevin Kelly is probably right. So it was very cool to hear his voice on the show tonight. And I thought the announce crew worked very well together. So they had Justin Roberts and the ring announcer from New Japan, Takuro Shibata. Not the only Shibata that we would have on the show tonight.
Let me check my screenshot.
They were doing bilingual introductions for each match. QT Marshall was the first one through the Forbidden Door. So he'll be a trivia question one day when you ask the question, who was the first person to go through the Forbidden Door? QT Marshall. He was out there with Aaron Solo to take on Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. Goto was 1 win away. Only a week or two.
Can't jump at this thing.
Away, challenging for the interim AEW World Championship. All he had to do was beat Tanahashi in Dominion. He couldn't do it. But instead, he was here on the pre-show. QT hit his QT special. Dive out to and, it looked rough, and they said he rarely does it. Kevin Kelly, I mean, he just read my mind. If I was doing commentary, I would have made the exact same comment. As soon as, I think it was Excalibur, said that he rarely does the move, Kevin Kelly said, I can see why. So, yeah, I think he should leave that one to one of his students.
I think we can roast this.
Yoshihashi moved out of the way. He made the tag to Goto.
A lot of names from New Japan I don't know. I totally forgot today what it's Forbidden Door. Forbidden Day.
I'll give the guy credit. He had his working shoes on. He was out there. He knew that he was in a big spot. You know, he's probably very happy to be on the show. But, look, nobody likes QT Marshall. So he got more heat than anybody in this match. I will say that. He got more heat than anybody in this match. They added a fourth buy-in match that was previously not announced. With Lance Archer against Nick Colorado. Archer is the one AEW name in the G1. Of course, he spent many years in New Japan. This just felt like a way for them to give them an excuse to talk about the fact that Archer is going to be in the G1. And also,
I wonder who put up these ropes in this waterfall, other than the game designers.
He wrestled so long for New Japan that they probably wanted to do something nice and said, let's try to get him a spot on the show. That's what this felt like to me. And, you know, they had a hoss fight, two big guys. Archer won with the blackout. Not much to it. Clark Connors was interviewed in the back by Alex Marvez, who just always just looks so awkward when they cut to him. He looks like a deer in headlights. He's been with them now for like 3 years. You would think he would have gotten a little more comfortable at this. I mean, I know he, you know, he's a writer. He's been a writer and a journalist for so many years. Not everybody necessarily translates well on the TV side. He just still seems so, I don't know, awkward when they cut to him in these backstage interview segments. But anyway, so he's in the back with Clark Connors, who lucked into a match on the show tonight because Tomohiro Ishii suffered a knee injury. And so Connors was going to be part of the All-Atlantic four-way championship match. So he's interviewing Clark Connors, and he said he was there to break the forbidden door off its hinges. He said he would show everybody what he means when he says... Oh, my God. I told you, I'm going to try not to die here on the stream. But he said he's going to show everybody what he means when he says, let's get wild. But the way that he said this was anything but wild. I mean, he could not have come across as any less unconvincing. Talking is clearly not his strong suit, or mine tonight, evidently. Later on, I think he also turned a lot.
Should be a safe point here.
He let his talking be done in the ring. As far as this segment here, this was no wins. Big Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland against Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. Thank you, Motown. Thank you, Motown Slim. I appreciate it. So we had Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. They've had some issues recently on TV. Would they explode? Okay. Would those issues come to a head here in this match? That was really the only question. It was the only reason why I had changed my prediction and gone with the New Japan team. Because I thought this might be the end of the team. This loss might be what triggers the split.
Here we go.
And that did not happen. This was the best thing on the buy-in. It wasn't even close. And there wasn't a lot of good stuff on the buy-in. So this was really the only good thing, for being honest. I mean, the opener, again, it wasn't terrible. But this was the only thing worthwhile on the entire match.
Dark.
Lee and Swerve, they
Still
had
talking
issues
about the
here
pre-show,
in this match as well.
still on the main
Strickland
card.
accidentally drop-kicked Keith Lee in the knee at one point. So that was the story of the match here. Kanemaru and Despy, they were working over Lee's leg for a while. There was a good near fall when Desperado, he took a swig of his Jack Daniels, his whiskey. I think it's Jack Daniels. And he spat it in Lee's face, rolled him up, but Lee kicked out at 2.5. The finish, though, the finish was wild. The finish was wild. Swerve Strickland is, he's something else.
Get to his campfire, have an extra safe
Swerve kicked Desperado out of the ring, but Desperado was hanging by his feet. So he had fallen out of the ring. He's hanging by his boots. And all of a sudden, Swerve, he propels himself out over the top rope. And he lands with a double stomp on Desperado. Words don't do it justice. He's so smooth in what he does. I know this is going to come as a shock to so many of you, but Swerve Strickland is really good at this pro wrestling. And he popped the entire house with that move. Inside the ring, Lee hit the Big Bang Catastrophe on Kanemaru for the win.
Reaching Meridian.
After the match was over, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, they spoke from up in one of the luxury boxes. Hobbs said that Strickland and Lee called themselves Shaq and Kobe. And then he compared himself and Ricky Starks to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. They were in Chicago. Starks took the microphone and said that Lee and Swerve will never compare to them. Starks questioned how Strickland and Lee call themselves the best tag team when they haven't beaten him and Hobbs. So it sounded like this was the setup maybe for a TV match. I don't know if it'll be this week or not between these two teams. Lee and Swerve, they really should get a shot at the Young Bucks once before they split up. I don't think they're going to win the belts, but they should at least have that one match with the Bucks and challenge for the titles. And if they're going to do the split, maybe if they lose there, that could be what does it. It would be a shame to break them up right now just because they're a really good team. And I'd like to see the Young Bucks have a couple of matches against, you know, some new teams that we haven't seen them in the ring with. So if these two teams do face off, I would imagine Lee and Swerve maybe win, and then maybe they do get a match with the Bucks at some point. I don't know where they are in the rankings or anything, because, I mean, I hardly pay attention to those. But, again, this was the best thing on the entire show. And it's funny, you know, I did see somebody in the chat mention they were very upset that Meltzer spoiled who the mystery man was going to be in the Zack Sabre Jr. match, like right before. I think, and I actually saw that tweet because I was just periodically checking my timeline, and I happened to check, and he posted something, and he said, Claudio's in the building. And I kind of like, I already knew. Like, I didn't know, but I knew it had to be him. So I wasn't too upset, but I saw that and I said, really? Why the fuck would you post that? Why the fuck would you post that? And it's funny to me because there are people who will criticize, and not just Meltzer, but some of the wrestling media online. Well, how come you always spoil WWE stuff, but you guys don't spoil AEW stuff? Well, that was a pretty big AEW spoiler. I don't know why he tweeted that, so I can understand why some people would be upset. I don't understand why he tweeted that. I thought that was a pretty fucking stupid thing for him. We had Max Caster and the Gun Club against Yuya Uemura, Alex Coughlin, Kevin Knight, and the DKC from the New Japan LA Dojo. In his rap, on his way to the ring, Caster worked in some digs at all the recent injuries. He mentioned Shibata's balls, because of course he's the lead coach at the LA Dojo where all these guys train. So he mentioned Shibata's balls, and he worked in a hentai mention. There you go. There's your Max Caster. They cut to a Danhausen video who said that he had a gift for them. I don't know where the fuck this came from. All of a sudden, there's a Danhausen video. And he's got a gift for the Gun Club. So they put Danhausen's video up on the screens. And there's like this custom, I guess it's new, some kind of custom theme song for Ass Boys or whatever it starts playing. And Austin and Colton Gunn, they make a beeline back, I guess, to go find Danhausen. So they run to the mat. And they leave their father and Billy Gunn's other son in the ring all alone to die. So I don't know what the hell that was all about. I don't know what Danhausen has to do with any of this. We never saw them again. So maybe the Gun Boys fell into a well. You know, maybe they got kidnapped by somebody. Who knows? Samoa Joe's ninjas from the Impact Wrestling days. I don't know. But we never saw them. Caster fought from underneath. He eventually got the tag to Billy Gunn, who hit the Famouser to Coughlin, then made the tag to Caster, who went up top with a mic drop elbow, and he picks up the win for his team. This was a handicap match, is what this was, and the AEW guys still won. I'm sure New Japan doesn't mind because the other four, they're young lions. These guys
You're very close now.
You know,
I was wondering when
barely,
you'd speak up.
I can't even call them
There's a sheer
stars.
rock
Maybe
wall
one
just
day
ahead.
they will be, but they're not there
Look
yet.
close, and you'll find handholds
It's still a
leading
little
up.
weird.
Oh, really? And
The
who
AEW
put those
guys
there?
went over here 4 against 2. So AEW ends the buy-in up 3-1 over the New Japan crew. That led into the main card. And as I said at the beginning of the review, not a single bad match on the entire main card. Some matches were better than others, but I can't sit here and tell you that there was a bad match. Like, oh, you should avoid that, or this match sucked. You know, there was an unfortunate ending to the IWGP title match, which we'll get into. Although I think that has to do with a legitimate injury. So, again, we'll get to that a little bit later. But the pay-per-view opened with Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki, Murder Grandpa, against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Suzuki got his own entrance to Kaza ni Nare. Everybody sang along. It was lovely. They showed highlights of Jericho's match at the Tokyo Dome with Kenny Omega when he shoved down the referee, Red Shoes Uno. This is going back about 4 years now. And his son, Shota, who was a young boy at the time, is right there, and he's trying to, protect his father and check up on his father, and then Jericho shoves him down and puts him in the walls of Jericho out in the crowd on the floor. So I like that they kind of brought it back to that. And they showed us those highlights. John Moxley was originally going to have the Wheeler Yuta spot in this match. That was the original plan, which is quite a different plan than the way it worked out. So Moxley went from curtain jerking the show to headlining the show. He got a nice upgrade there when Punk got hurt. Because the main reason is because Shota, or Shooter, as Moxley would call him, Moxley kind of took the kid under his wing. When he would go over there and work in Japan and everything, it became like a comedy thing with him and Shooter. So that was the plan. It was going to be Moxley and Shooter and Eddie Kingston. They were going to be partners here in this match, but it worked out a different way. So Kevin Kelly said that Umino should be a main event talent in New Japan one day, and after this match, I believe it. I think he absolutely has the potential to be a top star one day in that company. We saw glimpses of it here in this match. This was an excellent opener. I thought Yuta was over big in Chicago, but really all of these guys were. Eddie Kingston was over, Suzuki was over. In the end, the one who got put over the most, though, I thought was Umino. So Jericho started with Yuta. He hit 6 rolling German suplexes to Jericho right out of the gate. People were into Wheeler Yuta. And he locked on a crossface. That got quickly broken up by Sammy Guevara. Both teams start brawling all around ringside. And Umino hit Suzuki with forearms. No effect. No effect. Umino kept looking over at Suzuki. All the beatings that Minoru Suzuki would give him back in the day when he was a young boy. He hasn't forgotten about those. Because as Kevin Kelly said when Suzuki came out, make sure you don't make eye contact.
Right.
That's all you
Why
need
would
to
I
know.
expect
When
an
Suzuki
answer?
is walking to the ring,
It's
do
so
not
much more
make eye
exciting
contact.
to keep it
A lot
all
of
a
people have
mystery.
made that mistake.
Crash the Eclipse Focus Network, he
Kingston
said.
and Suzuki,
So how are we
they
gonna
had
do that?
the exchange of chops. You knew at least
Oh,
one
wait,
of these matches
I
would have
forgot.
this spot.
We
This
won't.
was the match.
I do all the dangerous
They're
stuff.
chopping each
You just
other.
listen in.
It looked like Eddie was winning
No,
the
that's right,
exchange.
girl.
He backed Suzuki into the corner. He started laying in the machine gun chops. Suzuki starts no-selling it. He's got this look on his face like he's possessed. And Eddie Kingston realizes, I've made a terrible mistake. He's chopping him, and it's having no effect. All it took was one forearm shot by Minoru Suzuki to knock down Eddie Kingston. So I love that spot. We can see 50 chops, right? They have no effect. One forearm. And down goes Eddie Kingston. Umino hit Jericho with an over-the-shoulder power slam. I think it was off the middle rope or the top rope.
They're the
Middle
handholds
rope.
that
Right here.
Reed said they'd be.
On the floor,
Did you
Ty
get that
Conti
silence?
and Wheeler Yuta, they
No?
got into an argument.
Fitting name you
Sammy
got there.
Guevara was able to blindside Yuta. He hit the GTH. Kingston hit Jericho as he was going for his lion salt, and Umino got another near fall. Sammy caught Umino with a shot to the back with a baseball bat. Jericho still was not able to put the kid away. Umino locked on his own walls of Jericho. Place went nuts. Sammy hit him with a super kick, but he would not let go of the hold.
There
Again,
it is.
cheer. So he rocked him with a second super kick. He
Kingston
still didn't
now.
let
All
go,
right.
but he did fall down.
Take
Did
a
fall
seat at
to
the
his
campfire
knees.
and we'll have a little chat.
And Suzuki took out Kingston with the Gotch-style pile driver. That left Umino all alone. 1 against 3. He managed to dispose of Suzuki. He disposed of Sammy Guevara,
Now
but
let
then
me
he
mute
walked into
Solomon
the
stereo.
Judas effect.
Mute him. And we can listen to this cutscene.
How nice of you to finally drop by.
Our purpose this night is to crash the Focus network.
Yeah, tell me the part I don't know. How?
For starters, you'll need to infiltrate the Eclipse's main base.
Wait, what?
That's right. Fortunately for you, I brought you round to the back way. It's right through that crevice. Once you reach the base, you'll see the objective. A derelict tall neck that's been extensively modified. Climb the tall neck. Grafted into the top of its disk, you'll find a module of sorts. Destroy that, and the Focus network will crash.
So you were part of the Eclipse.
I've never been part of anything. I serve my own interests, always. But it is the case that I assisted the Eclipse before I sensed the threat they might become. It was a mistake that I'm doing what I can to correct.
What sort of assistance did you give them?
Head through that crevice, Aloy. You have more important things to do than ask questions.
Okay. That was interesting.
You know, he's pretty much covered all the key, like really key guys. So if Jericho's going to go back over there at some point, and that's the big if Jericho does go back at some point to Japan, who does he wrestle? He's got this story with Umino.
We'll continue this next time.
It goes back to the first Wrestle Kingdom match with Omega.
Let's save. All right.
This was just a continuation of their story. That's why I